Hello, my name is Arman Khodaei. I'm a 25-year-old individual with high-function autism. Today's video is about money and how money affects autism, but before we get into that, I want to talk about something that happened to me yesterday. I got this here traffic ticket. I don't want to show the front of it because it has my address and stuff on it. But, so last night I was feeling, kind of upset about it. But, I'm feeling pretty good about this now. So what happened is, I was out and about at 10:50 at night. There's no other cars around, just me and the police guy. So he pulls me over, and he said he pulled me over because I made a left-hand turn without yielding. Now at the time I didn't realize, I was actually confused because well, there was a red light, and so I was stopped at the red light, and then there was a left-hand turn arrow. So I was like, what does he mean that I didn't yield? I'm like, I was stopped beforehand, so because I had to protect a turn, because like I said, there's a left-hand turn arrow. So it wasn't until I got home, that thing started to click for me, like, oh, but I got the ticket anyway. He kept on pestering about drinking and stuff like that, but I don't drink alcohol, I never have, so, and there's no other cars out, it was 10:50 at night, so my guess is that he was just pulling me over because there's nobody else there, because there wasn't. And so unfortunately I got this ticket that actually, like I said, I had a protected left-hand turn, so I don't know how I failed to yield. And with that aside, most people would be getting very upset about this. Most people, when we get things like this happen to us, we act like they're the biggest things that happen to us in the world. And I'm grateful that I had this happen to me. I believe that either the cop won't show up in court, or the judge will know that I'm telling the truth, because, I am. And I'm grateful, though, because it gives me the opportunity to talk about how we blow things up out of proportion and make these things our lives, and how we affect other people. You see, I see with a lot of people, even when they are responsible for getting a ticket, when they've done something, a lot of people get upset, and they start becoming frustrated, and then they have this influence over other people. I will admit, I did post up a thing on Facebook, and I think I talked to one person on the phone, but I didn't talk too long, and I was actually like, I'm not too worried about this, whatever. But I did post up on Facebook right after I got home about it. But we first of all, we make it really big, to ourselves. We allow it to consume us. It's on our minds for a long period of time, and we keep on thinking about it, and that prevents us from doing other things, because our mind is focused on that. We become tense, we feel bad, our muscles start to tense up when we start to talk about it, and we make other people feel bad as we start talking about it, so it starts influencing them, and now our garbage becomes their garbage. And my other videos, how to empower someone with autism and the power of violence, I kind of touch upon this. What this is, for a lot of people, things like this, these are seeds, and then we make it really big, and then it grows into a tree, and we look and we see the tree, but we don't see the seed that planted it. And that tree is a tree of negativity, and we see all these bad things happening in our lives, and we see our lives being horrible, and we fail to realize the seeds that we planted, how we blew things up and we made it bad, and these seeds become seeds for other people. We start putting our trees of negativity on other people. So I'm grateful that I had this, because I can actually now give you a concrete example of something that we typically blow out of proportion, and when you think about it, this is just a piece of paper. It is an inconvenience, showing up in court and everything like that, but it is what it is, and I can't do anything about it, so why bother about it? Only two things are going to happen: either I win or I don't win. I can't let that bother me, because if I do, I'm not going to get things done. Other people are going to suffer around me. That's just not awesome. So with that in mind, let's talk about money. Money. I'm going to talk about how it affects people, and then autism in general. Money, for a lot of people, some people, not everybody, it is responsible for every decision that they make. And let me explain. And so we're not living a natural life because we're allowing money to make our decisions. Either we allow money to make our decisions because we don't have enough, and so we hold back from ourselves, or we allow it to make our decisions because, let's say, we want to buy things to impress other people sometimes. We want that Ferrari or that Rolls Royce or the BMW. And the reason why we get these things is because we feel as if we have them, we are successful. And we feel inadequate, we feel insecure without these things because we feel as if we're lacking it. And actually these things, when we buy a Rolls Royce to impress other people, to show them what we have, that is actually a representation of our insecurities, of actually feeling as if we lack. So even if you're very rich and you're buying things to try to impress other people, actually deep down you feel very insecure. Now this isn't always true. I mean, you can buy things if you really want it. Let's say you just really love cars in general. It's not necessarily about the collectible factor or anything like that. You just love maybe the Ferrari engine. You're just madly in love with it. Now in that case, if it's an honest to goodness, like this is something that you feel a deep, profound connection to, then no, that isn't the case of being insecure. But if you're buying it because to show off, to flaunt, to win the girls over, to appear as if you're of a higher caliber than other people in society, then you feel insecure. You feel as if you're lacking. And I'm just going to be blunt about it. You can disagree or agree, but I know I'm right in that regard. And like I said, we aren't living our lives in a natural way. We're making decisions. How many people, decide what college degree to go because of what their parents say about money? Other people, like people tell us, right, we need to do this so that we can be successful and have money in our life. So we're relying on other people's decisions and also the decision of money. You're like, okay, I really want to become an archaeologist. I'm just learning something. I don't even know how well an archaeologist does, but the person's like, okay, I want to become an archaeologist, but archaeologists don't make enough money, and it's very hard to get into archaeology, so I'm going to become a business major instead. How many people? All right, raise your hands here. People, raise your hands if you like become a business major, or you take a job because you think more about the money than about staying true to yourselves. And so often money stops us from staying true to ourselves. In a lot of cases, some people, honestly, money is responsible for every decision and not who we are. And so because of that, we don't even know who we are because we're making decisions based on some concept. Because either out of fear, because we feel lack, we feel insecure. We're afraid that we won't have any money, we won't have food in our mouths, or we feel insecure and lacking, and so we need to buy the gigantic mansion or whatever. And it's not just money like this. Careers, trying to do certain things. Like I ran for city council. I talked about that in my other video. And I realized at the time, and I even thought about running for Congress or something, it was because I felt insecure and lacking was the reason why. I wanted to prove something to people, and I want to prove because I felt lacking, insecure. And whenever you feel like you have to prove a point or something, it usually comes out of feeling like you're lacking. And when we feel like we need to also control the lives of others, like when we say you can't do that, I'm right, you're wrong, that usually comes about because we feel insecure in ourselves. We feel as if there's something wrong with ourselves, and so we have no control over our lives, is what we feel like. We feel like we have no control over our lives, so we feel like if we have control over other people's lives. I'm going to give some extreme examples. I'm not saying this is not, I'm not affiliating myself with these ideas or anything like that, but say, okay, you can't be gay, you can't be straight, I don't know, you can't get married, you can't have an abortion. These are the big things going on these days. Abortions, gay marriage, things like that. And so when we say you can't do this, you can't do that, it usually stems because we feel like we have no control in our own lives, so we need to control the lives of others. And money is similar in that regard. And the fact that we feel as if we have more money, we feel as if we have more control of our lives, we feel as if we have the nice car, the nice clothes, whatever, that we are more in control of ourselves. And that is simply not true. We might have nicer things than other people, but we have this mental setup of needing to be better, of needing to improve ourselves. And so there's still something going on in the inside. There's an inner turmoil. It's something we usually don't even see. We're not even aware of it. Let me give you a further example. Like I said, we buy things to try to feel complete. We buy things to try to feel complete usually. Now, of course, you don't try to buy food or to feel complete. You don't necessarily even buy a TV to feel complete, or your computer. You buy a computer because you need it to do schoolwork, you need it to do Facebook, you need it to watch YouTube, whatever. But when you buy, say, a TV, like an 80-inch TV just to impress guests, then you're buying it to feel more complete. If you're buying an 80-inch TV because you love movies and you want the best TV, then it's a different story. But more often than not, we buy things because we feel a lack in our lives. We feel as if by having these, we feel more complete. I used to be a gigantor Star Wars collector, and I felt as if I had to have everything, and when I didn't get a certain toy or a certain collectible item, I felt incomplete. I felt lacking. And I was very proud of my collection because it was bigger. It was huge. It was bigger than most people's collections. I had a gigantic, huge collection. And I knew other Star Wars collectors, and mine was bigger than a lot of them. And it made me feel superior to them. It made me feel as if I had achieved something, and that. But deep down, though, I felt lacking. And more toys would come out, and there's never enough. And so that's a extreme example from my life. And like I said, going back to the whole, we buy things because we feel as if we have something that someone else doesn't have. So, and then what happens too is we also attack and begrudge those as money. You're like, oh, that person owns a jet. Oh my goodness, or that person owns a gigantic mansion, how dare they spend the money like that? Why it is? Because we feel a lack in ourselves. We are jealous. We feel like, we attack the person who has the Rolls Royce, mentally at least. And sometimes we'll talk to friends, look at that person, and, we feel insecure, we feel lacking. And this also affects autism. We make decisions for people of autism. We try to, either you make decisions on your child's life because of the money that you have, or you try to, you want to see them successful, have a career, because you perceive that the money will bring them happiness. No, it's not the money that brings us happiness. We perceive that having these things will bring us happiness, when in fact it brings us more feelings of lack. The more we become engrossed with having these items, the more engrossed we become with feeling lack. It's when we when we buy the things that we really want, because it is an expression of who we are. But more often than not, we do not buy things that express who we are. We buy things that are expression of what we believe society wants us to be. And like I said, we don't live our true lives. We don't have the career we want. Relationships. Sometimes we don't even get the relationship that we want. This is really true with women. A lot of women, it's a big thing to judge a guy based on how much money they make. Instead of trying to get money yourself, and you begrudge, you talk down guys who don't have enough money. They're just not the right material for you. And so you end up with a guy who's not necessarily the best, who maybe even cheats on you, whatever. And even some women, unfortunately, they feel as if they need to put out, have sex on a date because a guy buys dinner or whatever, which is really stupid if you think about it. You're not staying true to yourself. And just because the guy has more money, you're going to put out. I'm going to be blunt. It's a modern day form of prostitution in some regards. We're like, oh, I want this sugar daddy. When you have a sugar daddy, yeah, you might be with one guy. You might even marry the guy. You might even call him a sugar daddy. You might call him your husband. But when you're there for the financial reasons, then it's a modern day version of prostitution. Sorry for saying that. I know it doesn't sound very nice, but when we're not staying true to ourselves, that is what is going on there. And so with autism, we are making the decisions based on money. The parents, and you're trying to push your child. You want to see them successful, and so you say, all right, go do this career. Don't do that. I know you really enjoy that, but it's not going to make you money. So do this. Then they end up doing that, and messes people up. So I could go on and on about money. But I think I've said enough for right now. So thank you very much, and I wish all of you a most awesome day of awesomeness. Thank you.